This is Wise and Nerdy, where fatherhood meets fandom.
Oh, yeah. We played that tonight because I thought Kurt died, but he didn't. He's here. So,
I'm not dead yet.
Not yet. Yeah, you should have called it sick for sure. That's the truth. Oh, why is Spider-Man looking up? Why is Iron Man looking up Spider-Man's skirt? That is so weird behind you, man. That is the weirdest decoration I've ever seen. Whatever floats your boat, Bubba. That is all good.
What he's actually looking at is the Hulk that's on the bottom of his foot.
On the bottom of whose foot?
Spider-Man. It was from a previous jump. He's got a little Hulk left over. See, you can't see the bottom of his foot because you're not underneath looking.
Joe, I think we need to have a HR talk. It might be mandatory retirement time, I think, for a certain.
Oh, I'm just waiting for you to stop your yapping.
All right, Joe. Enough with the buttons. Enough with the buttons. All right. Where is it is?
Stop with hippity dippity.
That's right. That's right. No more hippity dippity. What's the question of the week?
The question of the week is...
That's the question of the week.
So I can do that too.
What's a bit of media?
That's the question of the week.
Movie...
See how annoying it is? See?
Stop with hippity dippity.
The question of the week is, what's a bit of media, movie, show, book, etc., that you love but would never recommend to anyone?
Wise and Nerdy, the podcast.
Wow. What a jerk.
I am not a jerk in this situation, sir. Iron Man is. That's not consensual. All right. So what's a bit of media? Honestly, mine is always 3,000 Miles of Graceland. I freaking love that movie, but it is so dumb.
But you recommend it to people all the time.
I'd never tell anybody to watch it. I just say I like it. I'd never tell anybody to watch it because it is not a good movie. Starship Troopers is right up there.
Oh, but come on. That is so dumb. It's almost a cult classic. In fact, it is a cult classic. No, it is.
Okay,
it is
right,
at this point. At this point,
right.
it is.
Yeah.
But it was meant to be like
I know, but I don't
satire,
recommend it to people.
Yeah.
I sent you a video about a Facebook short about Starship Troopers not that long ago, Charles.
I kind of remember.
So my first thought when I looked at this was, it's got to be Summoner's War, the game that I play on my phone.
The one that you recommended to Kurt and I to play
no.
for Demon Slayer?
You did not look in the Discord chat because I said I think it was Kurt that asked Joe.
It was.
Can you give me any tips for this game? And I said, don't play it.
I remember. I know. I didn't read that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I like the game, but I'm also 11 years deep into the game, and getting caught up at this point is a pipe dream. You're not going to get caught up, especially. Well, I mean, I'm never going to get caught up on the higher end people who spend thousands of dollars every month on it, and I'm not trying to. Good enough is good enough. But yeah, that was one of the first things I thought of was, I like it. I like it a lot. It's a great time waster. I do not recommend it to anyone.
Yeah, I think that was the last time I played it. Was that day that I asked you about it.
I did the Demon Slayer taste test, right, where they let you play with a few of the characters before it really does something, and that was fun. But yeah, that's as far as I got.
That's good. That's very good.
But it's like any of those kinds of games, though, right? I mean, like, Marvel Strike Force, for example. Yeah. If somebody started now, good luck. Like, there's just no chance that they can come close to catching up. Marvel Snap, same type of thing. Any of the gacha games, forget it. Like, you just can't. Yeah. Like, if you're going in to just play because you like that kind of game, that's great. But if you're going in like you're going to complete it, forget it. Like, you're just never going to be able to catch up. Heck,
Yep.
Pokemon TCG Pocket's kind of like that right now. They've released so many sets already.
Well, and then like Pokemon Go, you've missed so many events where you could have caught special, unique Pokemon. And I mean, I haven't played it for a couple of years now at this point. But yeah, my other thought was TV series that ended after one season that I absolutely loved, and there's just tons of them. Like Revolution. Revolution was an awesome one season.
That went 2 seasons.
Did it?
Yeah, it did. It did because I was completely in. I was completely in. But then I believe they set off a nuke in Atlanta at the end of season 1.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and then it got weirder. So,
yeah,
but a cool idea, a really cool idea.
Yeah, where there was a pseudo EMP, but it was actually, my wife put it in the chat too. Terra Nova. That's another one that only got the one season.
Isn't that the one where they travel back in time to primeval?
So they have completely ruined the Earth, and their way to fix the problem is to send people back in time to recolonize a primitive Earth, basically.
Yeah, it had a lot of promise, and then it got stupid. I couldn't I was in for a little bit, and then I just couldn't do with it anymore.
The last Stargate that they did,
Shut your mouth, full run through.
Firefly. Yeah, I mean, okay, but that's only because of Fox. Fox ruined that show.
Well, and at least they got the movie to
Firefly being the show for the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, Joss got to do. I know Joss has his own problems, but Joss got to do the movie, and that helped us. But man, you could really pick back up in that world, and I mean, there's just so much to deal with there that somebody else can run with it. But yeah, that one is one that you watch it and you don't recommend it because like don't watch it because you'll fall in love and there's nothing that you can do about it. And I really hate how Reavers clean their weapons. So just don't watch it.
I was just gonna say that. I was just going there because that came.
Like a leaf on the wind.
Whoever came out with that right after the movie came out, I went, "Oh, too soon and brilliant." It was a gorgeous joke.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. Yeah. So Charles, what were you saying? What was your thing?
I thought of it and I lost it.
Well, while you're trying to
Firefly distracted me.
Okay.
While you're trying to pick it back up, we do have one from Tyler who full run through here in the chat. So let's see what he's got.
Question of the week: what bit of media you love but would never recommend to anyone? And in my tradition of taking these questions, changing their meaning slightly, or not answering in the exact way that you're probably thinking to, I recommend this book series to everyone. But I know that only a certain amount of people that have a weird, messed up brain like I do are actually going to enjoy it. So I really don't recommend it to anyone. But it is a book series called John Dies at the End. There are 4 books and 1 movie.
Yeah.
The movie is the same title, John Dies at the End. You can find it on Amazon, I believe. And the books are John Dies at the End. Book 2 is This Book is Full of Spiders. Seriously, dude, don't touch it. 3rd book is called What the Hell Did I Just Read? 4th book is called If This Book Exists, You're in the Wrong Universe. And it is the most drug-filled, mind-warped brainchild of the most amazing author I have ever witnessed. But I really, like I said, I do not recommend it to anyone unless you have that same weird, messed up brain chemistry that I do. And I love them so much. But I do highly recommend anybody at least check them out.
So
but you just said you wouldn't recommend them, but then you just recommended them.
He recommends them to everyone and no one.
He's a second daddy-o. It's okay.
So I'm unfamiliar with that at all. Does it have a similar vibe to like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or something? No. Okay. Because
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is more the vibe it has.
Okay. Yeah, because Hitchhiker's Guide has a very unique vibe. And so I was like, huh, okay, all right.
Which that's another one.
I remember seeing the movie, haven't read the books, and I couldn't even tell you what it's about. Like literally, other than John dies at the end.
Apparently. That's the rumor.
Yeah. But that's another one. It made me think of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I am glad that I watched it for the experience, but I know definitively there are parts that my brain blanks out for the trauma that it caused.
So this isn't my choice. This is my pick, but I feel a similar way to Schindler's List.
Okay.
And Platoon.
Okay.
Where I'm glad I watched them. I can't recommend them to anybody just because they were just hard to take. Just really hard to take movies. So it's not like you really need to go see this movie. And like, no.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of things that I like that I would recommend to select people. And but that's a very different discussion of stuff that I like that I would not recommend.
So the thing that I have that I would not recommend because of the movie adaptation ruined it. And so I cannot.
Battle Station Earth.
Battlefield Earth. Yep.
Battlefield, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a horrible movie.
It was a horrible movie. I actually love the book, but I can't recommend it to anybody because the movie tainted it so much.
I haven't seen the movie, so is it okay if I read the book?
Sure. It's about that book. It's a chunky book.
It's a big boy.
It is.
I still can't think of that show.
Oh, it was a TV show?
There's a show because I was trying to say it, and then the Firefly got me. Yeah.
He was going for
Tony loves Chachi. Oh, Kyle XY.
I never watched that.
I have a love-hate relationship with that show.
I thoroughly enjoyed it up until the very end where it leaves on a huge cliffhanger in the middle of a fight.
Yeah.
So see, kids, back in our day, they would actually just cut the show off, and you would never get any fan theories. You wouldn't get anything to wrap it up. At least nowadays, in a lot of cases, they'll say we're ending the show and then let them finish the story out. Or at least, like in this case of Community, the writers and directors can come back and say
6
this
seasons
is what
in a movie.
Yep.
Still waiting on that movie.
Still waiting on the movie.
Yeah. But I want to say it was Community that they were promised that they were being picked up, and so maybe what Community? There was one I can't remember what it was, but basically they did 6 seasons, and they were promised they were being picked up, so they shot it that way, and then after they'd shot and wrapped everything, then the studio went, just kidding, we're canceling you, and they didn't get or they would have finished it up.
Yeah,
otherwise.
Where projects are overpromised on how many seasons they're gonna get.
Yeah.
Well, it could be worse though. Projects that should have been done after a season and got extended, like I don't know, Scrubs.
No, my good friend wrote on the later seasons of Scrubs. Man,
it jumped the shark when they changed hospitals, added a new cast, and put the shows on AOL.
Oh no, that wasn't after one season. They did 8 seasons before they did that.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like it should have stopped. It
okay. I thought you meant literally one season. Like whoa! Don't go besmirching Scrubs. They ended that well. Then yes, they did the AOL thing.
Yeah, see, that's why I appreciate stuff that ran exactly as it was meant to run.
Yep.
Like the original 3 seasons of Avatar: The Last Airbender. They had always planned it to be 3 seasons. And they were like, no, this is it. It's done. Now, they have done subsequent stuff with the IP, but not directly with that.
Yeah.
They time skip, whole new set of character. Well, there are some that make cameos, but for the most part, the main cast is entirely new.
But that's just sequels, worlds. That's no big. It's like it's Babylon 5 and the Rangers show that they did. But the Ranger show wasn't as good.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the Ranger show. I remember some about Babylon. What's funny about Babylon 5, I never got into it when it was on, and it had such a niche following that was loud enough that in my pirating days, I ended up going and watching, downloading and watching it all back to back. And you can tell a lot about a show when you binge it like that. That's another thing, kids. Back in our day,
Right.
you can make some crappy TV because we didn't know from week to week. We just caught it and forgot about it. But when you binge watch it, you realize, oh, every Star Trek has at least one time travel timeline arcing through 3 seasons. Every last one of them. So anyway, it doesn't. But yeah, I did watch Babylon 5.
Do you know why pirates are called pirates?
Dude, it is not bad dad joke time. No, sir. No, sir. You wait your turn, or I'm turning this freaking podcast around, and we're going home.
They just
Why,
are.
Joe? They just are.
All right. Just for that, before we roll the dice.
Oh wait, what happened? Charles disappeared. Oh no! What's going on?
Oh, you brought me back. You brought me back. Okay, well, there is that, people. If you're on the podcast, you need to go. That won't be clipped. You're gonna have to go find it. Go find the YouTube. 'Cause I guarantee you, Joe's not gonna clip that one and put it on the channel. So,
maybe I'll clip it and just give you one of those sports foam fingers.
there you go. As long as it's not a MAGA thing, we're good. So, all right, we're gonna roll the dice, but you gotta give me a daddy-o's because you let me start the show again without it.
Charles O's.
No, you ready, Joe? Because Joe Kurt's not gonna do it. Come on, 3, 2, 1. Daddy-o's.
O's.
Roll that dice.
By the power of fatherhood.
I like it, Kurt.
How do I?
Here I'm thinking like, what's category 8? Because I added the dice together.
That's not how that works.
Oh, this is the dumbest, most deepest question I think you could have brought to the show, Joe.
And I knew it would hit home for you, so I had to bring it.
Well, don't you play. Don't you play. You know it's coming for you. You know it's coming for you. 100%.
It's already there.
How do I
handle it when my kid doesn't listen to me at all?
Well, when they're Joe's kids' age, you just snatch them by the back of the neck and throw them into the bed, and nobody can see the bruises. I like Kurt's face on that. Kurt.
Yeah, the irony is I showed you a huge bruise on one of my kids before we started.
Yeah, Joe's like, hey, I got this category. How do I handle my kid doesn't listen at all? Oh, yeah, by the way, not related. Look, he fell and got a mark on his head. Look at this. Yeah.
He has a giant goose egg because he fell in his PE class this week and apparently hit a bench or something.
We know Kurt's going to go to you. You sit him down and you talk to them like human beings, and then you let them smack into the wall by accident themselves. So that's Kurt's take. It does depend on the age. So let's do some age ranges here, right? Let's start with the young ones like you got. I know you've got an actual preteen going on right now, but 2/3 of your house are young ones right now. And when number 4 comes along, I get naming rights. We'll talk about that later. But okay, so we're talking about what, 5 and 9. Let's start there. Between that age, because before it's just you're teaching, right? But 5 to 9, Kurt, what would you say at that age when they're not listening to you?
I don't know what that is.
You're like, my kids always listened.
No. Look, this might be a little controversial, but
that you're lying again. Sure,
kids don't have a choice but to listen, and so what I mean by that is, cool. You're not going to do what I tell you to do. There ain't no timeout. You're going to your room, and I will sit there. I'll guard the door for 4 hours if I have to. There's no messing about. You're listening. And I think that comes from, and this is the controversial part, a healthy fear of adult authority.
No, I'm there with you on that one.
I think that is a survival mechanism that has to be instilled in kids. And I'm not talking about beating on the kids or anything like that. I'm talking about because they don't understand respect, fear has to be part of that. And I'm not at all advocating for make your kids afraid of you. No, that's silly. Like that's not good.
We know what Kurt did with his ET games back in the day. He made his kids play them when they were bad.
Well, and you just got to find what they're currently into and take it away temporarily as punishment. To be completely blunt. If they're obsessed with their iPad, be like, okay, you can take a break from that until you learn to listen, or things like that. It's pretty easy to do that.
Well, and at that age, we're talking about under 10 and under, right?
Yeah.
You're the immovable force. When you said you'll guard the door, Kurt, what I imagine is similar to what I did is like, I want you to clean your room to my standards. I'm going to bring a chair, sit it in your room, and I'm going to sit there and play my video games on my phone and tell you pick that up and do this and that. If you're not moving fast enough, I'm going to tell you move faster, and I'm going to make you do some things.
It's amazing how fast they can pick up Easter eggs, but how slow they pick up stuff in their room. Just saying. Putting it out there since Easter was recent.
I mean, I think I told this story once before, but I have a nephew who slapped his sister. And I said, and I just happened to be there. And I grabbed his hand and I just said, we do not do that. And he tried to yell and scream and go away from me. He wasn't listening. So I picked him up, brought him into the other room, and he kept kicking and screaming. And I'm going, look, I'm bigger than you are, and I have more patience than you do. So you're going to sit here until you calm down. And I literally held him like for 20, 25 minutes. You're going to sit here until you calm down. And then once you calm down, you're going to go apologize to your sister. And my sister happened to be there. She wasn't doing anything, but I don't care. Like in a situation like that, I'm family and I have a responsibility. That's just the way I viewed it. And he finally calmed down after about 25 minutes, went in, apologized to his sister, and then kind of ran to his room saying something along the lines of, I hate you, that kind of thing to me. Now, I don't care. Like that part of it, I don't care because I accomplished what I needed to accomplish in that moment. The next time I saw him, he ran to give me a hug.
Was he not hugging you before?
No.
Okay.
No. And I mean, not in this situation. He did before, but this was this was a little different. It was almost like he wanted that level of control.
Sometimes it can be connection.
There is something there. There was some, I don't fully even understand it to this day, but there was something there where he finally got that I was there to help protect, I guess, or something. I'm not sure, but I just don't. My whole thing was I just didn't give him a choice to not listen.
There, at that age, there is that. Now you touched on something a little bit different for me, which is not my kid, not my problem. To a certain point, it is my house. I have rules in my house.
Sure,
you come in, you'll follow the rules of my house, or you won't be here. And we have watched my niece, when they were younger, and so on and so forth. But for the most part, I've told a story of my wife's cousin, because I surely won't claim her. I know I mock you, Kurt, and I give you grief about let's just talk to him. But she really sits down. They show up to my house. This girl's 5, 6 years old, already screaming. And she goes, well, let's express your feeling. Tell me what you're feeling. Yeah, I know that's not what you mean.
Yeah, that is completely not what I have no patience for that.
I know, right? But it's my house. So she brought him in. Now, I'm not going to go to that little girl and give her any kind of grief. I'm not going to be her parent, not my kid, not my problem. What I am going to do is make it very uncomfortable for you to be here. And I'm going to talk at this level, like I'm doing a show, to everybody in the house going, man, I wish somebody would take care of their kid like a responsible adult, because none of us are having fun with this kind of crap. She said, come on, man, you know how it is. Like, yeah. And I took my kids home and I give them naps. How come every time you show up there, I mean, and no hatred, no anger, no loudness, just point blank. So how come you suck at this? But that kind of thing. So, but going to the thing you said, Joe, about something they're into. It works for teenagers too, because dude, I think it's called Tree Grows in Brooklyn. It's a De Niro's an independent film with De Niro as a dad and this young actor playing his son, and he's teaching him to go on a date first time, and all about the quality of a woman that if you hold the door for her and she gets in the car. It's set in like the 50s, Bronx. Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I'm pretty sure.
I was going to say, are you sure it's that and not A Bronx Tale?
No, Bronx Tale. It might be A Bronx Tale. Yeah,
okay.
It might be a Bronx Tale. Yeah.
De Niro was the dad, and he was a bus driver.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And so I remember I learned the principle of I knew to hold the door. It was like if you hold the door and she gets in the car and she needs to lean over and check your door or something like that. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But he was telling them about you can either be loved or you can be feared. And you can't necessarily have both, which is I disagree with. But that's the thing. I kind of took this mobster, gangster method with my kids of finding everything to get them into. Once they're hooked on something, as soon as they got hooked, I went, got them. Now I have something to take away from them, because that's heat as well. 30-second rule from heat. If you can't, you got to walk away from everything in your life in 30 seconds, or this isn't the crime business for you. And because if you love something, you're hooked. And I have definitely used that with my kids for sure. And then as they get to the older levels of young adults, I mean, even as teenagers, there's some things you just try your best and do what you can. And then there's some things you just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. And Ryland he's about to be, he is 13. He'll be 14 in October. So, yeah. And so he's doing the kind of the teenager thing. And it's the same joke every time. Every time I ask him, huh? What? Huh? He does it on purpose. And I've yelled at, not about how he responds to me, but school. It's always about school. And I've pointed out his decisions, this and that. They're finally, we're coming down to the end of the school year, right? And I can see when they're projected to be done, and they're homeschooled through a system. So the system manages it all. It's all, I just oversee the system, if it were. And I'm like, dude, you've completed your classes early except for 2. One of them will be done like next week. But the one you keep putting off, it says you're barely going to get done by the time it's like May 23rd, which is kind of like their deadline. So I told them the truth. We get to the point, we measure it by when Hugh comes. Hugh comes from Memorial Day weekend. That's usually when school lets out. It's Memorial Day weekend. It's like, okay, when Hugh gets here, if you're not done, the second he leaves, every morning yanking you out of bed at 7 a.m. and all you're doing is math boot camp. Do you want to do that? And I make him talk to me. And this, I don't know if it'll work because this just happened this week. But I was like, do you want me today? And he thought me, yeah. I was like, no, serious. Be serious right now. Because I'm being truthful with you. I'm being serious. I'm not yelling. I'm not messing. Do you really want me coming in at 7 in the morning, putting cold water on you, yanking you out of bed, being a drill sergeant, and then sitting there and making you math? And because you're making me do it, I'm going to make you do it well beyond the point I would have let you stop. Do you really want that? And he goes, no. I said, I don't care either.
I don't care.
Yeah, no, he's not to that point yet, because he knows I'll back up what I say. And I was like, I don't want that either. I'd rather check on how you're hanging out with your game, doing this, that, the other, what you want to do, how you want to go play in the pool, whatever you want to do. I'd rather have that. And you can have it today. All you got to do is get this class done. So that's where I'm at with the older kids. What about you guys with the older teenagers? As you're getting close, Joey.
I don't. My oldest is turning 13 this year, so I have no teenagers.
I said you're getting close. Kelsey,
well, you said close to older teenagers. I don't even have teenagers.
No. Kurt.
Yeah. So the only thing I'll say is that, how you treat them even earlier, kind of will progress to a certain extent to when they're teenagers. Yeah. Like, so I think that whatever that style is, as long as you're consistent and keep moving that forward, then even when they become teenagers, whatever that really means in their stupid little forming heads, it's kind of, they're going to kind of just be an extension of their young selves. because they're just trying to feel their way around. But you got to be consistent. I think. I mean, I think that years ago, my sister had asked me, "How do you get your kids to behave?" And I think I've said this before. I said I tell them no, and I mean it. Like when I say no, there's no okay. There's none of that. It knows no, and that's just. But I never yelled or screamed.
Oh, I did a lot. It didn't work.
No.
Yeah, I did.
The reason why is because I was brought up that way, with my parents yelling and screaming.
So I wasn't, which is weird. But yeah.
And I presumed. Well, no, I didn't presume. I said when I have kids, I'm not doing that. I'm
Fair
just
enough.
not doing that. And so, look, I probably have yelled twice for both kids over both their lives. But if you're not a yeller and you do yell, that means something.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, we always knew my dad was super ticked off whenever he started swearing, because he didn't usually swear, but when he started swearing, we're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
When my swear words gets past 5 in a row, we know it's a bad. It's like, oh, better go hide right now.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said. I've used it for staff as well. There's something to be said about heaping praise. And I know this can be very bad and manipulated, so be careful. But heaping praise and love and attention to them when they're not doing good, pull it away. And I use it on adults. I don't like it for my kids. My kids always know they're loved, but the adults I
don't necessarily consciously pull it away, but I do try to be conscious about heaping on the praise to reinforce when they're doing good.
Yep.
Yeah, and I want to pull up that comment here in a second, but
yes,
but every kid is different. Talking about taking the phone away. I've taken away every electronic from every kid at some point in their life. Some of them care, some of them don't. That is a thing. When Crosby was 3 or 4, maybe 5, she was little, and we'll get to that one in a second. She did something. She just had refused to apologize. She would never just say, "I'm sorry." And I made it a point with every last kid to say, it's important to say you're sorry. Do you mean to hurt this person, or do you think that, blah, blah. It's important because of that guilt. We're getting past guilt. I hate guilt. We're not talking about guilt. And she just refused to say it. So I just remember at some point, it was just her in Oakland, so we hadn't got to Rylan yet. So she was probably under 5 because she was 5 when Rylan was born. But at some point, she did something, and she just would not apologize. She wouldn't do it. She wouldn't own it. She wouldn't do anything. I said, I'm not talking to you until you apologize. I went for 2 or 3 days and didn't say anything to her. And my wife helped. She's like, he's not playing. He's not kidding. All you have to do is say you're sorry, and everything's good again.
Yep.
And it was a hard point to make, but she got it. And it affected her life, the rest of life. So every once in a while you'll get lucky with a moment like that to where you can do it safely, calmly, and it sticks. But I would say in my experience, it's kind of rare to be able to pull that off. All right, so Tyler's here. Just to play devil's advocate, not to pull this in a different direction, it's a lot harder with a neurodivergent child. We went through actual parenting training to make sure we know how to communicate. 100% yes and 100% no at the same time, because, the neurodivergent child is not the same as my daughter. Say, okay, all you got to do is say you're sorry. It might not ever click that way. But that's the 100% yes. The 100% no is that you went through parent training and communication to make sure you had to do it because you had a reason to. We could all use parent training and communication classes to make sure we connect with our kids, and most of us don't. And then my thoughts went to Casey, guys, and being the neurodivergent parent, I'm very curious as to what Casey, how he would weigh in on this. Because I'm going to tell you, Tyler, parenting's hard. No matter what life throws at you, neurodivergent, neurotypical, whatever the scale is, it is tough. And some things can definitely be tougher than others, for sure. But just know that, don't worry about, and I'm not saying you're doing this. I just felt like giving this advice to the world. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't see other families, oh, they got it so well, oh, I wish, because it's natural. It's human to go, why me? I'm not saying don't say why me, because it can get tough, and you need to have the moments just to crash and build yourself back up. But don't worry about it being different. Just know that you have the kid you have. Jeff.
Well, and every parent is going to parent differently. Even their own kids, they're going to parent the different kids somewhat differently, because no two kids are the same. And so there's a big difference, especially, being a first-time parent versus a third-time parent. You've refined a lot of things along the way, but you also have to make adjustments because the personalities are very, very different. Like taking away desserts might be devastating to one kid, and the other kid's just like, whatever.
Right.
And so you've got to, what did a random kid say? You got to target their weaknesses.
Yeah, you find out pretty early that you can't treat, if you have more than one kid, you can't treat them the same. Like exactly the same. It just doesn't work. I found that out the hard way, and it was like, oh crap. So I have to adjust. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, we got spoiled.
I do worry sometimes that I have different spells of, am I being too tough on this kid for this last little bit, or things like that. So I do worry about that I'm being too tough, but then I try to think logically, okay, what has he actually done versus my reaction, and I try to reflect on what I've done. Like even tonight, for instance, my middle child, we were talking about what everyone wanted to have for dinner, because we were like, we're going to do leftovers tonight. We got a bunch of leftovers in there. And my two younger children were both ignoring me. I'm like, what do you want for dinner? Do you want this? Do you want this? Ignore me. And so I was just like, okay, fine. I'm heating up this one, and that's what you're going to have. And Jebediah, the youngest, he was fine. He was like, okay. My middle child, though, who Charles likes to call Bob. Bob.
You named him. I call him what you told me.
No, that's what you call him. Bob freaks out. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that. You go to your room until you're ready to talk. And so he goes up, and then when I finally call him, like 5 minutes later, when he's not freaking out, or at least so it seems, I'm like, all right, you can come out. Let's talk about what you're having for dinner. And he's like, I'm not eating dinner. I'm like, okay, go get ready for bed. I don't care. You don't have to eat dinner. Yeah. He did end up coming down and having dinner. But
not Miles. What you said, you're done, bud. You're done. Choices and consequences.
How old is he?
Jeb's 5.
Oh, 10?
Oh, we're talking about not Jeb. Right. We're talking about Bob.
So again, you do you, right? What I might have done is, cool, you're not eating. That means you'll have plenty of energy to wash the dishes.
That's there. I've definitely pulled no. Once you said no, we're done. But the overall advice I can give in this category is pick your 2 to 3 super important rock hard principles that you will discipline on, that you make important. The negatives, and they have a lot of positives that you make important, but the negatives, and then everything else, just judge what you can teach them and how you can guide them, right? And mine, because I was worried about how they acted in public. I was worried about this. I was worried about that. I was worried about so much crap as a young father that my wife helped me whittle it down, because it was just overacting to too much stuff. I think one of you guys touched on that. But I got to the point of, okay, lying, that we don't tolerate in this house. No means no, period. I mean, I started as soon as they could understand. And when your sibling says no, that's it. And I made it a huge deal when they were younger. And I had to make it less of a deal as I got older, because I wanted to respect human rights. And then be kind to everyone. So when you're actually being mean, those are my 3. I'd jump on it. I was like, and being kind to everyone's yourself. So I don't tolerate bad talk about yourself either. And I let everything else go. I guide, I teach, I say, you might not want to do that, or I disagree with that. But those are my 3 hardcores. I advise everybody, as best you can, pick that, and the rest of it will be okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a topic for another night. But I mean, you really got to know. You got to know and be strong in your values, whatever those are. whatever those are,
Yeah.
so that you can have a consistent message, right? Because if you're communicating in a way where it goes against your value because of the situation, then they're not really core values for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right, let's roll some dice. And while you do that, Joe, I'm glad you brought up how you named your kids. The first, wow,
You named my kids.
You can't even get into us. You got Malachi, Bob, and Jebediah. So I think I've earned the right. I think I've earned the privilege over the last 10 years of naming rights of if there's a fourth kid. And I've got the name for you. I researched this, got great Mormon history. It's in the Bible. It is perfect, Joe. You ready? Your daughter will be named
Shadrach.
No. Why would be mean? Don't be mean. You can't let your kids get bullied. Uncle Charles has got this.
Yeah, Abednego.
No, it's gonna be the baby. It's all about me.
No,
Meshach,
nobody
right?
wants Meshach.
No. All right, let's get to the next segment, and then when you roll, I'll tell you what the names are.
I already rolled.
I know you roll this one. What's this one? You threw it on the floor.
What are
is it?
you nerding out about now?
I don't know why you're kissing his butt. He actually showed up tonight. And he froze. He looked away.
You froze. What are you nerding out about?
I didn't freeze.
Your face.
Yep.
Your face. Look.
Did it again.
Look. I'm checking my video now. Nope. It's 7:20. I didn't freeze. You froze. All right. We're working on it, though. Honestly, truthfully, to everybody watching live, I got a plan in place. I'm working it out. It's going to get better. Anyway, what am I nerding out about? Two things tonight, but I'm going to start with the Oblivion, not the remastered Oblivion 4 like many might think, but Oblivion, the cigar called White Noise. And it is perfect for me. It's spot on. It doesn't leave a major aftertaste, which some cigars do for me. The White Noise is a Connecticut wrapper. It's a lighter tobacco. Affordable company. It's just a smooth taste, smooth draw. I love it. And yeah, I thought tonight was appropriate to bring up Oblivion White Noise since everybody's going nuts over all the Oblivion announcements.
Yep. Yeah, I can't believe you said Oblivion and not referred to the game as much.
I've never really played the game.
You don't have to. You didn't have to. It got remastered.
The House Ghost just attacked Kurt there.
Yep.
We're just three MCs were on the go. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah.
I remember that. The other thing I'm learning is something that doesn't exist yet. So, as Joe knows, because I text him consistently when I'm catching up on solo leveling because it's so good. Let me just tell you, I watched the last 3 episodes, binge watched while I was playing Diablo 4, and let me just say, as Jin Sun is getting more powerful, and our Jim Woo is getting more powerful, and shut up, Joe. You've been with me almost 10 years. You know.
Run away, Kelsey. You haven't finished season 2 yet.
I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna reason it. I'm not gonna ruin it. Although, come on, Kelsey. If
So in her defense, she just barely started.
I'm sorry.
Well,
you didn't have 2 days to go through 2 seasons. So shush.
Well, and since we're referring to Kelsey, she did make it clear that she is not pregnant.
It's.
I don't even know why she brought it up, but that's okay. But
we're talking naming rights.
That's business. That's just business. So look, so you're watching these things just get. And of course, in this particular anime, it starts building from the first episode of the season, and it never stops. There's very little lull. It just, when you go, man, what can they do next? They do something next, and they do something next, and it's, I love it so much. And so I'm at the point, I've played Diablo 4 for a while now, so I've already beaten the game. So every season I just get to start a character a few, like 20 levels in, and then quickly power level them up to play whatever the new story part is that they dropped in. And so I was doing that. So I'm a force of my own in this game, just walking in, obliterating dungeons and those kind of things. That's the game I need. I need Blizzard to do a solo leveling game, or somebody who would do it just as well, that just has that magic replayability of, you don't just play it and max out and you're done. You build your character up, and you could have a game where you're him and then you can have a game where you're definitely somebody else reawakened or whatever. But I need that game to where I could just keep power leveling like he does and play. Imagine playing through the different dungeons, the 100 level has-been hotel, whatever that he went through. Yeah, I want to be addicted to another Forever game, Random Kid. I mean, but it is that. It just synced up so well with how he was playing in the Force and the stuff he was doing in the show and what I was doing in the game as far as power levels. I just kind of felt connected to him. So I need that game. I need that game.
Did you not play Rogue Legacy?
I've never heard of Rogue Legacy.
Rogue Legacy is a roguelike where you go in and you power up in dungeons and whatnot. The only difference is if you die, that character's dead. However,
no, you told me about it. You're right. No, I didn't.
However, you come back as another character that may have different attributes, but it's the same dungeon, same everything. It's just so the legacy part is you can go collect your stuff, but now you're a different version of that character.
Not quite what I'm looking for, but also, yes, because I do remember a while back you did mention that. I need to look it up.
Yeah. Solo leveling is very, very good.
It's the best. Oh my god, the last freaking 3 minutes.
You finished it then, I assume.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Come on, Kelsey. Come on.
You went full Donald Duck. You loved it so much.
The last 3 freaking minutes changes everything.
Yeah. So I've watched the first season 4 times, and I'm on my 3rd watch through of the 2nd season. And the 2nd season just wrapped up a few weeks ago. So the fact that I'm on my 3rd watch through with Kelsey, it says something. Plus I've read the source
it says
material.
You're bored. No, I have any time.
What? It is fantastic. It is not for people who don't like gratuitous violence.
Oh yeah,
there are copious amounts of violence, and I told my wife if she can handle the first 2 episodes, she's good with the amount of violence.
True. That's one thing that really does set it apart for me, and I loved it, was that, from the get-go what you're getting into. They do not pull any punches in those first 2 episodes at all.
Yeah. She had a face the first couple of episodes, especially towards the end of the 2nd episode, and she was just like, but she's really liking it. So
good. We'll throw out one more little quick nerd out since you mentioned that. You know how I love TikTok clout. I never really have much of a trend I can jump on because I'm not that kind of guy. I did have a little fun with solo leveling. There's a trend that returned with I can't remember the pop punk song, but I think it's Hey Mary or something like that. But it fits with every anime, and I saw somebody do it on another one, so I went and recorded the intro to season 2 of solo leveling. It fits perfectly. So I got to get on that trend. But then I shared it with Oakland, and he loved it. Then Oakland came to me, and he wants to do a video series. That apparently there's a trend in his age group of watching Attack on Titan with your parents and having them react to it. And I've already said multiple times, I do not want to watch Attack on Titan because it looks gross as everything. It looks horribly gross. And so I've agreed to help him get some TikTok clout, and I'll do that with him.
Yeah.
I've heard really good things, but I haven't watched it.
It did not end how I anticipated it would end. I'll just leave it at that.
All right.
Yeah.
So Joe, what's Teogonia? Is that another anime?
It is an anime. Would you guys like to guess what it's about?
I will. This is gonna be a weird one though. Charles, do you want to go first or do you know?
After you, sir.
All right, cool.
I don't know, but after you.
So this is a weird one because the name is odd, so I gotta break the name down. So Teogonia makes me think that it is an anime that takes place in Mexico with a young boy named Mateo, but people call him Teo, and he is obsessed with growing begonias. However, what he found was he found a specific strain of begonia that when you sniff it, it transports you into a virtual world where plants have personalities and feelings and are actively fighting against the humans that pick them.
Plants versus humans?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes. By the way, it's Dear Maria is the song. Yes, thank you. I think. No, Kurt, you're way off. I've been learning some Japanese, so I think I can figure this one out a little bit. Tegonia is actually Japanese from, or translates rather into, I'm an old white person trapped in a young man's body doing a podcast to the aliens in another dimension that play golf.
That tracks.
Yeah. I mean, Japanese is very much about one word does a whole lot. Trust me. Trust me.
Okay, so Tegonia is about a kid named Kai.
That's what I said.
Yeah. he lives in a world where everything is determined by power. Okay.
Yep.
And so
a real world.
If you are blessed by the gods, you are able to use this power where these tattoo-like things appear on your face when you're using their power, and it boosts you physically and everything. And
I think that's exactly what I said.
I mean verbatim.
Where's the podcast playing? I'm confused.
And he has snippets of memory from living on Earth, but he doesn't have full access to it. Like, he just gets these images or words and stuff.
There's the podcast. Got it.
and when they defeat other people, like they're fighting at the beginning, they're fighting these like orcs. And when they defeat them, they cut them open, and instead of a heart, they have like these god seeds inside of them, and they crack them open and they drink it, and it restores their spiritual energy. But the common people only get a little dabble of it, whereas the higher up people who are blessed by the gods get to eat a bunch of it to restore a bunch of their power. And it's only a few episodes in so far. Because of some of his memories, he's like, man, I wish I had magic. And then he's like, wait, what's magic? Because the concept came to him and the word, but this world doesn't have a general understanding of magic per se. But then he hears talk about how there's these people that can summon fire from their fingertips. And so he ends up figuring out, oh, okay, well, maybe I can figure out how to do that. And he makes a tiny little flame, and he's like, oh, awesome. And yeah, so it's got a lot of potential. It's only 3 episodes in so far, and I'm liking it quite a bit.
So you're saying that they get powers from god seeds, which is the same thing as plants, essentially. So I win.
So, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Do the seeds grow begonias? Is what was there. I went to our good friend ChatGPT. It said, "What is the anime Tegonia?" Wrong answers only. It says it's a cooking show about magical raccoons who run a Michelin star taco truck in a post-apocalyptic Paris.
Oh, I love that.
A season or 2 back, there was a cooking show where cats ran a ramen shop. I didn't watch that one, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close.
That's funny. All right. All right. Kurt, it seems like you are going back to talking about your grandkids again, because you're obviously well over 75, but you're talking about 75 hard. So are you having to raise your grandkids? Is that what's happening here?
And that's why life is so hard at 75?
Yep. Unfortunately, my life is not an anime, because that would make perfect sense otherwise. But no, 75 Hard is a program that I did probably 2 years ago at this point, and it really is just as some people may know, I've lost a significant amount of weight, and this is just kind of a way to kind of refocus and not really remotivate, but just get my head straight in terms of getting back on track. It runs 75 days long, and the rules are you have to take a progress photo every day. You have to read 10 pages from a nonfiction self-help book. You need to work out twice a day. One of those workouts needs to be outside, and each of them need to run at least 45 minutes long. And did I say drink a gallon of water? That's part of it as well. And stay no alcohol or drugs, and stay on a diet for the entire 75 days.
You had me until the alcohol and drugs.
No, I know. That's what usually makes people
Look,
go.
you filthy French raccoon. I don't want to hear it from you.
So, yeah. So I'm wrapping up day 4. In fact, after this, I'm going to the gym to do my second and final workout. Yeah, it's good. It really is more of a mental exercise than it is a weight loss thing at all, really. So,
if you really want to make it 75 extra hard, you make a run for the border, because right now bean burritos are at Taco Bell for only $2.49. And look, this is not a paid sponsor yet, but it's getting there. And you can also treat yourself to a Baja Blast while you're there, Kurt, and make it 75 extra hard.
Back in my day, those bean burritos were $1.
Yeah, $1 menu.
89-cent burrito, 69-cent taco. Come on, man.
Oh, man.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
And welcome to America's Dad, Steven Zinn.
Thanks, American government, for all of the inflation over the centuries.
Roll some dice.
Okay.
All right, so Kelsey, you ready for it? Here comes the naming rights, right? Your daughter is going to be called Ruthless Jezebel Ard, because strong, feminine, heroic, she can rule the world, and y'all can call her Ruth, and nobody will know the difference. You're welcome.
We already have a girl name.
I got the rights. 10
Not
years,
that
man.
we're
Y'all
planning
messed
on
it up
having
first
any
3
more
times.
kids, but we've had a
Exactly.
girl name picked out
You're not even planning. You're not even
for 15
planning.
years.
I call the rights. It's canon. You signed it away when I bought you, Joe. That was part of the contract.
Oh, see, that's the game. Guess the name.
I got it.
No.
Who would be the first female president of the United States? Ruthless Jezebel. I'd vote for her.
See, why does your name sound like a character from Lil Abner?
It's really kind of like anime, right? She is destined to be the one to save the golf tournament, or feed the raccoons, or kill the ghost statues, or whatever it is. Right? Come on.
So why not call her Happy Chubbs Gilmore? That's pretty much the same exact background.
Joe, what'd you roll?
Tell Mojo Jojo a story.
Oh, Lord. What's the best? Tell me a story about the best piece of advice you have ever received. Well, I just gave you the best piece of advice, strongest name ever, and you don't really appreciate it. Why are you quiet? This is your thing that you brought to the table, Joe.
The best piece of advice that I have ever received is always talk to your wife. It doesn't matter when times are good, when times are bad. Always talk, because Kurt, you're giving me a funny look like that's bad advice. That's excellent advice.
No, I'm a little surprised it doesn't come naturally to you anyway.
I mean, it does, but there are times.
I mean, Joe was raised in the Mormon South. It was get in the kitchen. I'll let you have your shoes because I'm nice.
There are times when you don't want to talk, and often those are the times where, I mean, sometimes you do need to cool off and collect your thoughts, but those are the times when you really ought to be talking the most. And so, yeah, I think that it's excellent advice, and I think it's advice that a lot of people really need to take to heart in all relationships, but especially in marital relationships. Is you need to learn to be an effective communicator.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, they used to call that "don't go to bed angry." Well,
Yeah.
because effectively, the way you don't go to bed angry is by communicating, right? I mean, you get it all out before you go to sleep. You know, you just deal with it. But
Steven, what if she tells you she's tired and wants you to go away because you talk all the time?
there, like, yeah,
What?
I could see that happening in Charles's family.
I mean, Charles doesn't even have to have anyone else present. He just talks.
Well, and to be fair, Aaron just says, "Go away."
I'm like, that's why she got another cat. She was sending a message. Charles's face.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
This is supposed to be.
The cat is a sore spot for Charles.
This is
My
supposed
bad.
to be like a Daddy-O's Anonymous group, and here you are bringing up trauma. So, Kurt, what was the piece of advice you got?
You know, it was funny. I was thinking about this because I had to really think about it, and it really was from an early boss that I had, who I hated. I hated him, just like he was a really not a great boss, but he did have one great piece of advice. And because I had asked him at one point, "Hey, I need to plan a vacation to go back home," because I was in California at the time. And I said, "So when is it a good time for the company?" And he said, "It is never a good time for the company, so always plan when it's a good time for you." And I took that, and really that was one of the best things he ever said, and that changed my perspective on how to approach my time off, because really that solidified the fact that companies don't actually care about you, and nor should they.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So
That's why I treat my PTO request, my time off request, as I'm informing you I will not be here.
Yes.
You need to make other plans.
Yeah. Now,
within policy, yes.
if that's within policy, yeah. So like at my company, we always say, like, we say yes to everything, except what I ask for a courtesy is give me 2 weeks notice to take time off. That's all.
Oh yeah, no, I go through in January. I go through for the year and mark down every one that I know that I already need off.
Then that's
my wife is really big about planning. Like, I've already got requests in for the end of December.
Yep.
So.
Yep. No, and that's just courtesy. That's good. That's being a good employee.
Yeah.
And it depends on your field and industry. Like, you know, in EMS, we required a month's advance because it's a little bit different than making cogs or you're not greeting somebody at Walmart or whatever, you know. But yeah, ultimately, as Steven says, I've never been denied PTO. Same. I mean, I always gave people off as long as they gave me some notice. And it's like, well, can I have off tomorrow? Well, I had a policy for that. There's a dozen, you know, more. It was hundreds of workers. There's so many people out there. Swap with them. We made a way that you can take off tomorrow, but if you want me to approve it, I need more of a heads up because we planned that far out. But yeah, it is a courtesy, and I like that we both said as long as it's in policy and how things work. So I've definitely seen some tip of the nose thinkers. Like, you can't see past the tip of your nose, right? Go, you know, I'm just letting you know I'm not going to be there. It's like, well, then I'm letting you know you're not going to have a job the next day, because we have to work together. It's not one sided, but yeah. Steven says, I've worked nothing but IT jobs. I did get denied a day off when I worked at CVS, and that sucked. Yeah. And that's what I've tried to teach my kids. See, tonight's been a whole teaching your kids thing, you know, so many times we've gone through. And it's Man, that's something we should talk about. Kurt and I could really lead the conversation on that, and Joe, you'd ask questions and give some ideas, but about guiding your kids into the workforce and helping them understand things that they might not, interpreting things that they might not understand. Like Crosby's 19. She's got offered yet another management position at another company, a small one. It's not like she's suit and tying it or anything, but and I'm like, girl, you've got my genes in you. You are a natural born leader, but you got to stop taking these. Anyway, I digress. We could talk about
That's a great topic for another episode, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you might need to consult a doctor because you shouldn't be eating genes.
Right.
Denim tastes good. You never picked at the holes in your jeans and chewed on the threads? Just me? Okay.
Yeah, just you. That does explain a lot, though.
Yeah.
Explains absolutely nothing other than gods do what they want. Honestly, Betsy, I was racking my brain. I'm going, I don't really remember getting much advice, like what I would consider advice, through my growing up. It was a lot of preaching at me and a lot of telling me what I should do and shouldn't do and all this other, but not really, hey, this is something that will help your life. Even in EMS, it was shut up and do it. The EMS I came up through. So I was like, well, maybe it was, do it, because at some point somebody said, do as I say, not as I do. And that kind of goes about hypocrisy. And okay, I did take that to heart, but really, truthfully, came to mind when I watched the movie Bad Boys when it first came out in 1996. And they played a song in it, and it's just a throwaway overview of the city of Miami as the camera is painting over, transitioning to another scene. But they played Tupac. It's You and Me Against the World, and that just hit, and that's what I took into my marriage, and that literally has gotten us through pretty much everything. It didn't matter, because early on, I don't know about you guys, but early on, my in-laws and my outlaws all wanted to have blah, 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 blah. And I sat down with my wife, like, no, it's me and you against the world right here, right now. We have to agree to that. No matter what happens out there, they don't live here. They don't understand here. It is just outside advice. And that has worked. And, got us through a really hard bankruptcy.
And that's biblical. When you get married, you're supposed to cleave unto your spouse and no one else. And I think that's part of it is having a united front with your spouse. And it very well is, in a lot of cases for people, there will be times when that means against your own family members when they're coming at you. Yeah. I've heard way too many stories of in-laws and, as you put it, outlaws who try to divide you, and you've got to stay strong.
Yeah. Random kid says, never order someone to do something you wouldn't be willing to do yourself. That is a good one. That's a good one. I had to work past the guilt of making people show up to work at 4 a.m. because I didn't want to, but not wanting to is different than not being willing to.
Yes.
Because I definitely did that for a long time. I just didn't want to do it anymore. But yeah, so yeah, as Joe brought it back to the Bible, Kurt, it was Tupac, chapter 4, verse 13. You against the world is how that worked. So
I liketh big butts.
Yeah.
And I cannot lie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Steven says never trash talk your spouse to other people, particularly to other family. That's another good one. Yeah, no, we just badmouth each other to our faces. That's always fun. So
yay, verily.
I know Steven says he's going to do a speak pipe, so we'll have that next week, hopefully, to play. But I guess it's time to roll some more dice.
We've already done that one. Well, there's one that we have not done yet.
Council of Dad.
Parliament of Papas.
There you go. I dig it. We were doing Aaron and I
you
were
know
sorry.
what this means, right? Don't you?
No.
Yes, I absolutely know what this means. That's whatever. But Aaron and I were doing these fun little TikTok quizzes last night. Somebody on there is like, here's only, and he goes, what P letter is a group of owls? Like Parliament, fool. Parliament Funkadelic. Anyway, all right. All right, so I actually had to ask Joe about this. Kurt, he will explain in the reading of it and everything. But Joe, you brought a Reddit here to us for the Parliament.
I sure did. So this comes to us from a subreddit called "Am I Overreacting?" And the redditor is no_weekend7196. Am I overreacting? I won't hire someone with a 1488 tattoo. And when I first looked at this, I was like, I have no idea what a 1488 tattoo is.
So before you tell us what it is, make sure everybody you go on your work computers and look that up, especially at a religious job.
So apparently, 1488 has ties to neo-Nazi. We'll start off with that, and now I'll read what they actually put in here. So they said, I'm building a house, and I live in a very rural part of the South. I am trying to hire contractors to do some work, and one of the workers with the company has a 1488 tattoo on his neck. I don't want to hire racists. I'm canceling my contract with the company. So one worker has the tattoo, and he is not going to be hiring the company at all. So do we feel that he's overreacting because of that refusal to hire the company? Assuming that that's the only problem with the company.
Right. So, and again, I know nothing about this number thing, honestly, but it's that part of it's kind of irrelevant. If that implies that that guy is a racist, I think the overreaction might be canceling the contract with the company. However, I would give the company the opportunity, because this dude, that contractor that works with the company, or one of the workers with the company that he subbed to, right? So I might call the company and just say, hey, you know what? We really like all of the guys that you sent over, but there's one guy, I can't work with him. And see what the company does.
Compromised.
And just say, look, I can't in good faith work with this guy. Can you send me somebody else? And if the company says no, you have to work with them, then that's not overreacting. Then it's like, nope, sorry, then I'm canceling the contract.
Okay, that sounds like a reasonable approach.
Yeah, I mean, because then it becomes. I've been trying to find win-win scenarios rather than a win-lose scenario, and that would be a win-win. You communicate with the company. You say, hey, this tattoo, you can even call it out because the company might not know, but whatever, I can't work with this guy. And if the company says too bad, then too bad, you're out.
Yeah. Well, and John brings up a good point that I had thought of as well. How does he know that this guy is truly so, meaning truly a racist, I assume, and not just a bad life choice?
Right. Yeah, that's the other part of that, right?
Because it's very possible that he fell in with a bad crowd. Getting laser removal for a tattoo is expensive, and perhaps he has amended his ways. I mean,
you know what's not expensive? A turtleneck, a scarf.
I mean,
an explanation when you come up and say, hey, I understand you might know what this is, but I need to address it because of da-da-da-da-da-da.
Well, and it's possible that his boss has no idea what
but it's his boss's responsibility
means.
to
know.
know.
It is, but it's possible that the boss is ignorant as well. Like, none of us knew what the tattoo meant before I Googled it and explained it.
I'll tell you, in my business, when I hired people, I Googled every tattoo, or I asked them straight out about them. And that, and I'm going to tell you this, neck tattoos or face tattoos, bad idea in life, period, and in business. But in this case, whoever the person who wrote the Reddit, you know what it is. The only inch I would give to the company, because I actually do disagree with both John and Kurt on this, is like, we live in a world where you've got to ask questions of people, and you've got to know exactly what's going on. And he has something that is blatantly racist. Now, yes, I didn't know what it was. If you showed up at my house, I wouldn't know the difference. I'd let him work. But this person did. If I called a company and go, this is what that tattoo is, I not only don't want him working here, I'm sorry, if you don't fire him, I'm not going to work with your company because I'm not going to work with a company who now knowingly enables any kind of racism. If he made a bad life choice, yeah, but you've got to address that. There's a comedian out there who's just a pasty white guy, but he's got tattoos it's massive all over his face. And he was telling a joke about how people asked him, oh, did you always want to be a comedian? He's like, no, I wanted to be an accountant, but this kind of stopped that. Kind of idea. Yeah, but he talks. His shtick is talking about the bad choices that he made, but that's it. Choices have consequences, and Steven says he could be repentant of that tattoo, but you have to address it. You do.
Sure,
if it's there on your neck that everybody's going to see it, it's like gang signs, like anything. You have to hide it. You have to, in the fire departments.
And that was actually, I was going to have a follow-up question. Would the script change at all if it was a gang sign instead of a neo-Nazi sign? I mean, there are some arguably similarities, but very different between a gang sign and a neo-Nazi sign.
Yeah, I mean, I would say simplify. If their apparent tattoos go against the core values of your company, then you have to have the conversation, whether it's with the guy or with the company that you're hiring, or both. It doesn't really matter. But you have to have that conversation.
I don't like the word "have." I don't think you have to have that conversation.
Well, if you want to be,
I'm done.
Yeah, I think that, with all due respect, I think that's short-sighted and removes humanity from the equation. And the time that when we start doing that, then we just close off the communication lines even more.
So when you say so let's say I'm the one who knew about it and it offended me directly. So you're telling me I have to get over my stuff to communicate because I'm taking away his humanity by not. Aren't you taking away my humanity by saying I can't make my own choices and not want to deal with it?
So you are making your decision without complete information.
I fully disagree with that. I saw the tattoo. That's all I need. That's all
but that's what I'm saying.
Why do I owe him anything? Why do I owe the company anything?
You
it's
owe
a
your
business transaction.
You owe yourself. Okay. You owe yourself. It's not if you are willingly operating or willfully operating from an area of ignorance, and I really don't mean that to be pejorative. You don't have complete information. I mean, it can be that this guy completely regrets that, or it could be that the company that you hired doesn't even know. And whether you do or not, if the rest of the company and the rest of the workers for that company do good work and they're not racist, then what are we doing? Right. I just think that
we're taking the presentation that the company decides that. You're telling me you've never gone to a restaurant and the first time you're there, it was just bad service, bad food. Maybe you complained, or you just left and never went back.
It really depends on the level, but I would complain to the manager if it was truly poor service, or have that reflected in my tip. Because I'm definitely not at minimum you tip 20%. That's not me.
It's not me either.
Yeah,
and if you do really bad service, I'm not giving you a tip.
Right. No,
I am going to talk to you directly. I'm going to try to address it, but this is a little bit different. I just and that you just put that up about Steven, about people in isolation go to Steve. We're going way too off track with it. It's not about isolation. It is about, in a world that we live in, you get to interact with the people you want to interact with. I will tell you, there's certain things, I won't drag it out here, but there's certain things that if I see it on a person and it's white people and it's not neo-Nazi racism, but if I see it, it tells me enough about you to know that I don't need to work with you. I don't need to talk to you. I don't need to worry about you. I can be polite, but I don't need to worry about you. And it can be all kind of a slew of things. It is about how you present yourself. And then when it is a company thing, if your company, well, there's just so much into it. But in this case, where what if it was big, the F word slur, right? What if it's that across the net where everybody knows what that is? Does that change it? Does that make it different? What if they had a bad, choice in life?
So
I don't care about the
potentially,
what ifs.
yeah. So potentially it does, because it also depends. Like, I'll give you for example, right? For our company, we're constantly going in and talking with clients and working directly with clients. So we have to present ourselves in a professional manner. We had an employee who had a fair amount of piercings on their face. And we said, cool, look, here's the deal. And granted, this is different a bit, but we said, here's the deal. We don't care that you have the piercings, but you can't be wearing them when you're on site.
And then it's their choice to take them
Right,
out or to
right.
not work there. Yeah.
Now it is a little different because
a
we're
little
talking
different,
about racism, which you can't temporarily remove.
And there's plenty of people who made bad racist choices, then the tattoos are somewhere that's covered up.
Right. But here's where I think we may split a little bit. If I had the discussion with the employee with that tattoo,
Sure.
and I was convinced that they were repentant, contrite, and really just couldn't afford to get rid of that tattoo, I would have to say to them, then if you're going to be working for me, you're going to need to cover that up. And that's if I believed. That's if I believed them. And I don't know that that's true. I don't know anything, but I'm just saying, I want to give people the benefit of the doubt until I communicate with them enough to know whether or not I should.
Yeah, and I mean, bare minimum, they could get like athletes when they put the little black underneath their eyes, they could get that and cover up the tattoo temporarily while they're there.
All kind of stuff.
Because I think it was John was like, yeah, in when it's hot in the South, you're not going to have them put a turtleneck on for construction work.
Let me tell you something. The fire department in the mid 2000s that I was working with.
Oh, I've seen their calendars. They don't wear turtlenecks.
Joe has a subscription to the calendars. That tells us a lot about Joe. But military people get tattoos quite often, right? And for a while, the policy was it didn't matter. But then the county decided to change the policy to no visible tattoos. And they would not hire you if you had visible tattoos. Now, I think there was a tiny, tiny handful of people who just couldn't cover up the neck, and they had some issues. But everybody else, now it wasn't like a turtleneck, hot, but they had to have some kind of long sleeve on at all times, summer in Georgia or not, or they couldn't work there. It was their choice. They were being grandfathered in. They were still going to keep their pension. They were still going to work, but that was the caveat. And they make those sports ones for baseball players and whatnot, and they can wear them. But the thing is, personal responsibility. We're back to the dad advice. My daughter has always wanted eyebrow rings and nose rings. I'm like, one, that's dumb for two reasons. Society still is not there, and it doesn't, and certain people can look good, but just because you can't do it doesn't mean you should do it. But that's neither here nor there. Because when it's off-putting, it's off-putting, no matter what. Two, medically speaking, those are the 2 out of the 3 most infected ring places that you can get. Tongue being the most infected ring place you can get because of all the germs. But I taught her choices matter. And yes, you can take them out. I told them about tattoos. Be careful with what tattoos you pick and where you put them because you might regret it later, but choices matter. And I am not here to change everybody's life and try to save everybody. I've spent too much of my life trying to do that. So in this case, I firmly land on homie shows up with that, and I know what it is. You got to go, man. And your company is going to get a phone call, and they may never work with me again.
I think my ultimate judgment on this is he is not overreacting to not to want to do business with them. But it also wouldn't be unreasonable to have a conversation like Kurt suggested with the company to make
Yeah,
it
my
a
only
more
nitpick
informed
was the word
decision.
"have to." I don't like that.
No,
You
I
just
don't
don't like
have
being
to.
told what to do.
I don't. And I also don't think I owe them jack bleep either. But it's not unreasonable to have a conversation, but it's also not unreasonable to not want to do business. It's where I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
Kurt's throwing up his arm off screen. You can't see it. Don't worry about it. No, he's not. I'll redact that all day long. Redacted. All right. There's some jokes you can make and some jokes you just can't. So
do we have a consensus then that he's not overreacting?
Joe and Kurt right and Charles is wrong. It's John.
Like the cut of your jib there, John.
I don't know, Joe. We can't get to a consensus because none of us have gavels except for Kurt. This Supreme Court is not so supreme. Unlike Taco Bell, who has a Supreme burrito on for $1.50 just now. Go after midnight.
So I don't know how much Charles is getting paid by Taco Bell, but I'd like a cut of that cheese.
You want some of that TB money, don't you?
I think he's just hungry.
He's got the munchies.
Not yet.
All right. Well, I think it is time for
a commercial break.
All right. So, hey, I forgot to say this at the beginning. I forget to do a lot of things at the beginning of the show that I want to do. But we are looking for original music for a couple reasons. First off, we love you, the audience, and how much you participate with us. It's amazing. I know we have a lot of great creators out there. Secondly, who doesn't like music that's made inspired for the show that it's being used on? But thirdly, is we got some questionable things happening at Pokemon Go podcast where Spotify said, hey, did you remember on this episode you played this song and the stuff that at the time
stuff that's getting retroactively
it's retroactively
DMCA'd.
being copyrighted or whatever.
Yeah.
And at the time it was fine. I won't go into all the details. And Spotify made it super easy. It was non-accusatory. There was really, and the way they took very good care in the way they worded everything, there's no negatives to it. And the options were great. And so we had basically 6 episodes of our old Pokemon Go show delisted essentially. I signed up for that. So yeah, just take them down. It's fine. Because of the retroactive music being copyrighted. So we'd love to feature your music on this show.
Like this.
No, Joe. No, Joe. We've already played that song once. Although these do kind of go together. We got our first mashup on the show. Listen to that.
Joe and Kurt, they with him slam.
All right, turn it off. Let's chill for a minute. Hey, go to patreon.com and support your daddies. It is patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy. And you can be a part of the daddios. And Linktree is linktr.ee/wise_n_nerdy. Come join our Discord and hang out with all of us. Rock out a podcast. The old bad bird. Nobody cares about Josephine. No, sorry. I got crazy.
Got a little aggressive.
That was. So these shows in the sometime distant future or near future, you might be listening to this podcast and all of a sudden it goes commercial break and you hear me talk and then there's no music. Because we don't know anymore what's copyright or what's not. Because when we got this stuff, it was royalty-free, copyright-free. That could change. It's really weird. So, Joe.
I blame Charles.
Always, man.
If he was a real rock god, he could play whatever music he wanted.
That's what I have to say about that. Let those who doubt touch. Never mind. Do we have some speak pipes to play for people?
We do. We've got several different speak pipes on feedback, but apparently I failed to realize that one of Devo's sites was actually one for the question of the week, the bit of media that you love but would not recommend.
You only have 10 jobs, Joe. 10. Come on, man. Get it right.
My bad.
So question, what bit of media you loved but would never recommend to anyone? I would say that is Gormenghast by Mervyn Peake. It is fascinating book, but it is a slog. I mean, I remember reading it. I'd say it was like about 30 years old, and I had to have a dictionary next to my bed so that I could look up this man. He found every obscure word in the dictionary and the English language and put it in that book. I swear, it's that's where it's very difficult. It is a extremely long book. I wouldn't recommend to everybody unless you really like something that really challenges you, but at the same time is very fascinating. That's the book. But yeah, that's my best choice. My next one maybe be Silverberg, Pontifex Valentine. It came out like in '83. It's kind of similar, but I really liked his book. Very descriptive. Again, another difficult, drag out the dictionary kind of a book, but fascinating writer.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Anything with the word Pontifex in it. Come on.
Okay. Gormangast.
Yep.
All right. Now we've got some feedback. Let's see. This one comes to us from Cousin Mike, and based on what he typed into SpeakPipe, I'm assuming it's about how to handle bank accounts in marriage. We had that discussion.
Okay, yeah, we last week, I think.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Cousin Mike here. Despite popular belief and rumor, I am not dead.
That's good.
Anyways, I just wanted to chime in on separate bank accounts for married people. Me and my wife, we have separate bank accounts. And the only reason we have separate bank accounts is they were the bank accounts we had before we got married. And each other's parents are co-signed on there. So mine are co-signed on mine, and her parents are co-signed on hers. And they can easily just drop money in there without having to have our own login for that. It makes it easier for us to move money between us and our parents for things. And we just don't have a joint account.
But this feels
millennial. We did just open a joint credit card, but that was for travel points and whatnot. So, anyways.
Why are your parents involved in your banking?
I love it, though. My parents can just move money into my account. Tell me more. Tell me more about this paycheck I'm supposed to be getting from my parents that I have not gotten for 40 years.
Oh, it
hasn't like money laundering.
Yeah, it hasn't shown up on my feed so that I can highlight. There it is. Yeah, John put sounds like money laundering, but yeah, no, I mean, I guess it depends on your relationship with your parents. If it works for you, obviously you've got the trust there. I have heard a lot of on the converse side I've heard a lot of horror stories where your parents did not end up being trustworthy and they were stealing money from you. So I guess it depends on the level of trust that you have with your parents. But yeah.
If you're 13, maybe. I don't understand. My Gen X is showing. I apologize, but
I'm with you a little bit.
Holy crap! Like, why? Yeah. Why?
I mean, I dig it. It sounded all positive from Cousin Mike. It sounded like, hey, yeah, they could just drop money in whenever they want. I'm like, oh,
he had me up until like when he said it's because.
Okay, that wasn't me. I thought it was something. Sorry, Kurt, you froze.
He's gone. All I see is his face.
There, I see his dumb face. There it is.
And he's back.
Despite the internet's best efforts, Kurt's not dead.
Oh, did I freeze up on you?
Yeah. So, okay, you were saying he had you until.
Yeah, he had me until the. Through the. It's the bank accounts we had before we got married, so we just kept them. Cool, whatever. And then he lost me with the Because it's easier for our parents to drop money in because they're co-signers on
That
our
hooked
accounts.
me. That hooked me. Throw me money. Come on.
But
Kurt's in pain right now.
I just don't understand. Like, how do you not untie yourself from your parents at the soonest possible time? Like, I'm locked up on it. I don't understand.
I don't know. We're running short on time, Joe. Let's hit some more.
All right. This one is feedback from the full run through.
I was just listening to the most recent episode that was uploaded to Spotify, and Kurt brought up that they changed his senior quote in his yearbook because I guess whoever was in charge of the yearbook didn't like the fact that it had the phrase "hunt them down and kill them" in it. And it reminds me of back when I was in high school. I didn't do a senior quote. I wanted to, but I had a feeling that they would change the quote that I wanted to use because I tried to use it for my theater bio when we were doing performances and everything. You could always have your picture and then a little like kind of bio blurb about yourself and then a favorite quote in the little playbook pamphlet and everything. And the quote that I wanted to use is from the TV series MASH by Sidney Freeman, the psychiatrist. And he has the best line that I've ever heard and to this day still love. And that is, "Ladies and gentlemen, take my advice, pull down your pants and slide on the ice." And they wouldn't let me use it. The teacher came up to me later and she was like, "Do you want me to change this a little bit?" I was like, "Absolutely not."
Not.
So they never used it.
Too bad. I thought they were going to change your quote because you said something about the Pontifex in it.
I figured he was going for "the chicken is a baby."
So, next.
All right. Let's see. This one is labeled as anonymous, and I think it's only 15 seconds. So it might be a bad dad joke. So why don't
That's okay. We're on the cusp of bad dad jokes anyway.
We are. So we'll just go on to that section.
Bad dad joke.
All right.
We didn't need the audio.
I need to make up for lost bad dad jokes.
No,
I'm really sorry, Charles. So
no, you're not.
There you go. How do you defend yourself underwater? You carry a swordfish.
The little chuckle at the end.
So just so you know, John, I'm keeping this couch especially warm with you. I did make a run for the border, and now it's coming out all over the brown couch that you're going to sleep on. You're welcome.
Oh, is John going to stay there for Dragon Con too?
Yeah. There's 3 of you this year, so and actually might not stay on this couch, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to taint every couch. He's going to get the pink eye pillow.
All right, and we got another one from Devo, which he labeled it as bad Dadivo joke.
Oh God.
Where do ghosts water ski? On Lake Erie.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, podcast listeners. One, I love you. I love that you download the episodes every week. You're beautiful people. You've got to come watch these stupid bad dad jokes. So this is Joe. It is just the purest joy. You would think Joe is on Love on the Spectrum meeting his future wife. The look on his face, just a pure joy when he hears a bad dad joke. It's so hard not to laugh because I'm looking at him and just the joy he gets out of this pain. You're a sicko, man. You're a sicko.
Unfortunately, the best bad dad joke we heard tonight, even though nobody said it, was the Reavers one.
Oh, yeah. Too soon still. Is that more?
That's it.
That's it. Okay.
That's all of them.
That's it.
That's all she wrote.
Oh my goodness. That was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, but
I mean, we can do more if you want.
I do not. I would not recommend this show to anybody. So, bye, people.
Follow these nerdy dads on social media. Charles at Rock God of Podcasting, Joe at Joseph_Ard. Check out the website wiseandnerdy.com. And as always, they may not be your father, but they'll always be your daddy.
And VO by Kurt everywhere, except for Etsy. Then it's 3D by Kurt.
And oh my God, I'll get it. Don't worry about it. I get it. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
Shut up, Mike.
What up, Mike?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Shut up, Mike.
My wife
take
said
care of
shut
it.
up,
Don't
Mike,
worry about
last week. She put it in the chat.
Nice.
Oh.
We should get T-shirts that just say "Shut up, Mike."